Thanks for joining me today, Chef Dario Tomaselli. I see you brought something with you today, Chef.
I brought one of the most prestigious things that any cook should have. It's a journal. This is a journal, one of many journals that I built through my career. I've been in the industry now for over 30 years. But for sentimental value, I always keep this stuff with me because it's so important. When I started 30 years ago, you have to really pay attention to every single secret, techniques, or way you were working with, and you write in a little book. At the end of the day, or at the end of your shift, it's well used. I mean, this is one of them. We use it a lot.
Do you know how many you have? Can you tell me?
Oh boy, I would say probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4. It's a lot of information.
A lot of information, a lot of the stuff, thanks to my wife, has been converted on CD because it's important to actually have all the electronic copy on it. But the greatest thing about this one, some of this one are really old recipe, and then I can still use now. And if I want to modify a recipe, I can just go back to my book and turn it right into a modern recipe, creative recipe. Because every single recipe you're going to see over the 7-8 weeks that you're doing your extension are fundamental. They might not be important in the next, maybe the next 3 or 4 years. But for the time being, it's important to write everything down. Every single thing.
Do you ever go back and make notes to the old recipe that you discover something new and you add it to the base?
Yes, I do a classical recipe. Then you convert technique that you would use maybe 20 years ago. Now, modern era. Now we can change things, but we always still go back to the basic.
Do you think you could have been the same chef without?
No, absolutely not. I think even the most amazing person that has a great memory doesn't remember everything. I think I always recommend to young cooks, and I always said to my apprentice when they used to be at the restaurant, I said, you write everything down and always keep it on a piece of paper. You never know, 10, 15 years from now, it might be useful or not. But at least you have something to remember.
Can you do me a favor and take me through a few of these recipes?
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, here we got an old recipe. It was a simple asparagus and truffle flan that we used to serve as a garnish for the fish course. We had a recipe that we used to use for a cornbread. Then it was served with steelhead, smoked steelhead. A South American version, more modernized on myself, of mole Veracruz. And bonito flakes, bonito broth, orange cardamom glaze, all the recipe. As you can see, very close to the kitchen.
Yes.
Staying in the kitchen. I mean, that's the true and through recipe. Then gets eventually modified, put in a good copy into your computer, and you go back to it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chef.
You're very welcome.